Remember, this entire manga and every manga on this channel is hand-drawn by myself, and now you too can learn exactly how to make your own viral Dragon Ball mangas at www.makemanga.com, where you can learn directly from me. My mangas have got me on TV, on newspapers, and even earned me over $60,000 a month on Patreon alone. And now, you can click the link in the description and pinned comment of this video and do it yourself. You only need to see the website to see just how many thousands of you are taking this opportunity right now. And don't forget also, the next video to this Ultra Vegito series has already been made and is live now on my Patreon right now for over 4,500 of you incredible fans to watch after this. Again, links are in the pinned comment and description. Enjoy.
Huh? That cannot be! You say you know of the God Killer Vegito already? So our story continues with the completely gobsmacked stance and face of Castiel the Elder God and Archangel. His body stumbling back in shock as yet again the Omni King Vegito, which would stand before him in front of his summoned demonic defensive wall, would come out with even more shocking reveals. The first being that he was actually an Omni-Devil just like Lucif, but the second being that he had none of the same goals, instead only achieving this power in order to kill Ultra Vegito. Of course I do. What do you take me for? As a self-assured grinning Vegito with his arms folded would just respond, how could I not? Such a stain on my name could not go unnoticed. All the good I have done for my realm, for all realms, undone by a single monster. And not only that, but one who would eventually come for me anyway. Yes, Zuno the All-Knowing told me everything I needed to know. Just like he told me about you, Castiel. It all came to my attention one day, the day the Oracle Fish had a premonition for my future. He told me that there would be one that would be coming to kill me. One that would succeed in doing this, and that he would look just like me. He mentioned the only way I could stop this is if I took preparations now, and that's exactly what I did. This information immediately putting the Elder God in a state of deep thought, a finger on his chin as he would introspect. So, the reasons you gained this power was to protect your honor, but also to protect yourself. Reasonable enough, I can accept. With Vegito, now with his teeth-baring smile, somehow reading Castiel's thoughts within his own domain, would immediately then return to base and let out, "It's just as you think, my lord. I'm sure you already know more than most, that this Vegito will not be satisfied with anything reasonable. There will be no conversation with a bloodthirsty Saiyan like him. He simply won't stop until all gods are done for, and that means even across the multiverses. All that's stopping him is knowledge that I even exist. But if he's anything like me, he'll find out soon enough." Before suddenly, like Phoenix Wright, the Omni-Devil would snap his finger forward, pointing at Castiel as he would claim, And that's exactly why you came, isn't it? He's coming for you next. Maybe even all the Elder Gods. And you'd rather I take care of him for you. Am I right, Lord Castiel? I must have imparted far too much intelligence into my creations. You are for sure a clever one. As in response, conceding, Castiel would just close his eyes and laugh, continuing, You are absolutely correct. About most things, at least. The one you will be fighting could be Vegito, but there is a chance it won't be as well. I'm still waiting to see what happens. This instantly raising the eyebrow of the Omni King, as he would question, Now, what does that mean? Zuno didn't mention this. Leaving Castiel to then explain, Yes, well, I'm sure he wouldn't, considering these events are happening right now. But there are in fact two threats to the balance of power currently. One that is Vegito, but the other is a fallen angel known as Lucif, the bastard son of an elder god, my nephew. He too, like you, has become an omni-devil. On their own, these two pose little threat, but together, they will be. They're engaged in battle currently, and it's unclear who will come out on top. Just who wins will be who you face. That's even better. But this version of Vegito would have no qualms about this, as he would respond with a giant grin. That sounds like a whole load of fun. Either way, as long as the God Killer is stopped, it doesn't matter to me how. Fighting this Lucif, who killed another version of me, will feel poetically fun in its own way. I formally accept your offer, Lord Castiel. And with that, Castiel would immediately turn his back nonchalantly, opening a giant square portal in front, just yelling, Well, come then. You've wasted enough of my time as it is. Your training begins now. But Vegito would just be left puzzled, thinking to himself, Wait, so he could leave my domain whenever he wanted anyway? Was he just bluffing from the very beginning? Wait a second. What is it now? But soon turning these internal thoughts to actual words, Vegito would lift up his hand as if getting a teacher's attention. Slightly losing his patience, Castiel would side-eye and respond, Speak! Quickly! Did I not just say you've taken up enough of my time? Sorry. There's just something I forgot to show you. As putting out his arm to the side, a portal would open as the Omni Vegito would explain. I forgot to say, there are others who should join us for this cause. Others from this multiverse, who have also gained great powers alongside me for our purpose. As on cue, a foot would then come through the portal, and one which certainly looked more divine than mortal. As before long, the blue outfit on view would be utterly clear to recognize. The garbs of a grand priest for sure, but in a much larger size than we saw with Dai. as on first sight of the face, it would most certainly not be an angel we knew. Allow me to introduce the Grand Priest of my multiverse, my son, Son Gohan. A pleasure to meet you, Lord Castiel. It's an honor to meet a real archangel in the flesh. As coming out would in fact be Gohan, his hair white and his eyes just like Dai's and the angels he fathered, as he would seem similar to the adult ultimate Gohan of our multiverse, but this one far older and more wise. Bags under his eyes from no doubt decades of reading and learning. Oh, and here comes the second, the dragon god of our realm, Piccolo. So the time has finally come. Gohan, I hope you've kept up with your training this time. As Piccolo would now be shown as the Zalama variant for this multiverse, no doubt inconceivably stronger than the one we knew, as he would possess an alarming aura of presence as soon as he would step out. But things would be far from over, as Vegito would then slam his fist into his palm and add, and finally, we have the first of the 5 strongest in this multiverse, my final son, Son Goten. As walking out of the portal finally would be a warrior that seems identical to Goku. His clothing a little different, but his hair and face a complete doppelganger. As this multiverse's Goten would take on completely after his father and reach the same potential and heights, as he would let out, Dad, if you want to see me, then I guess you finally found that imposter. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And for a moment, as the 4 divine warriors would stand before Castiel, he would stare in silence, completely not expecting this at all, slowly perusing their appearances and sensing their individual power levels. Oh my. Until with a truly enthused look, clearly thinking to the future, Castiel would say, "What an intriguing set of warriors. You surprise me to no end, Omni King. This will do perfectly. After all, who said the tournament needed to have only one participant?" Good to finally see you again, my dear old friend, Lucif. As the scene would then suddenly shift back to the God Killer we all know and love in his Nephilim form, half angel, half devil on full display, as he would stand stanced, truly happy to finally be back in the mortal realm. You! What are you doing here? But of course, that would be the complete opposite for Lucif, who, reacting like he was in the presence of a long-gone ghost, could hardly believe his eyes. What? Vegito? What happened to him? He's on our side now! As the Prince Vegeta would be next to react, stunned back onto his feet that the once traitor was now back in a totally different form. Father! I cannot believe it. I finally get to meet you. What a momentous occasion for any young boy like me. As soon, the possessed Trunks would have his chance to chime in as well. A sadistic smile on his face, of course, too. While Jiren, just staring without blinking, would not say a word, keeping his thoughts and reservations to himself. Clearly, the former Pride Trooper would not be so trusting after what Vegito had done to him in the past.
This can't be! Where is that?
But Lucif, meanwhile, still not able to accept what he would see, would immediately think about the so-called lucif Vegito from before, turning his head to look up into the sky where he once was, only to see nobody there.
But he was right there! Where did he go? How did I lose track of him?
As if coming to the realization that this once declared partner in crime had truly disappeared, at least to him. He's not gone anywhere, Lucif. He's right here. You really thought that wasn't me? I never knew my acting abilities had gotten so good. Who knew Boo's ability to turn into anything would be so pungent? I even left the earrings wrong just for fun.
You could never have tricked me! I would know! He told me he defeated you!
This reveal immediately getting Lucif's back up, staring right at Vegito, not willing to accept that he would be so easily tricked. But Vegito would just simply reply, "It's called a lie, Lucif. You'd think the former devil would know a thing or two about that. No, that imposter was no match for me. He never was. The only thing he had was an ability to keep coming back every time he died. So I came up with a different solution. Eternal torture until he knew to give in. When you join me, you can ask him all about it."
I should have killed you the moment I saw you! You've got cookie down there, huh? Don't forget, who was down there long before you, child?
The rage in the Omni Devil now clearly being triggered, as he would scowl at the God Killer. But it would seemingly be short-lived, as in the next panel, Lucif would go back to a calm demeanor, a smile on his face as he would place his hands on his hips, towering over Vegito and saying,
Whatever, lies or not, you being here makes no difference. I have become the Omni Devil, and you have arrived too late. The battle was decided as soon as the realms were merged, and your crown as the new devil is meaningless now. You may as well give up, or should I say give in, just like you did before.
But Vegito's initial response would be to just smile, listening with his eyes closed before... True, I did give in. You won last time, Lucif, and I would repeat history right now. But there's one small problem with that this time. And that's this time, I'm way stronger than you! As bursting open his eyes, and with complete conviction behind his words, Devil Vegito, after absorbing all 10 Demon Emperors and his own clone, would now know without doubt that this battle was his to win. As almost immediately the God Killer would begin pivoting his body with rapid speed and... As with a sudden strike from his devil arm with no expression on his face, Vegito would smash straight into Lucif's chest. The impact and randomness of the strike alone sending the Omnidevil's head heaving forward. But interestingly, Lucif wouldn't actually be sent flying back at all, even surprising him.
What did you do? Are you holding back?
But judging by his face and struggle to even get his words out, even he would realize something was off. As when we would look down back at Vegito's dark fist on the pulsating red diamond of Lucif's chest plate, small tethers of smoke would be let off, along with a slight crackling until unbelievably, with that one strike, the divine armor of Lucif, who he himself had said must be the same as that of the Elder Gods, would actually crack and break from the God Killer's uncontrollable power.
Impossible! What have you done?
His annoyance going through the roof as he would lose all cool and suddenly pull his own arm back for revenge, his palm open with his dagger-like claws ready to rip Vegito's confidence off his face. Why so angry? Sure, I broke it, but not like you paid for it. But despite Lucif's super speed swipe down, he would be left striking absolutely nothing, as the all-new Vegito would outspeed him instantly.
So you have the same speed of that Son Goku? Fine!
Fool! That was never Son Goku in the first place. As in the distance, Vegito's feet would then be seen levitating down softly. But here's something Kakarot never had. As lifting his arms up now in L shapes above his palms would be a compendium of energy balls of all sizes, like mini planets with mini orbiting asteroids. Don't move now! And in a flash, Vegito would push both arms forward like a sumo wrestler. And just like that, despite their varying sizes, they would all grow to each be a powerful, separate beam rushing straight at Lucif.
They're everywhere! I can't move even if I wanted to!
And with their spread out formation at every angle, the panicked Omni-Devil would know he would have no choice but to follow Vegito's orders anyway. On your marks, get set! But this would not even be the most alarming part of the situation, as like a track star, kicking his left leg back and planting both arms down, the God Killer would ready himself for what looks like a sprint forward. As like a rabid beast, with so much speed that he would actually go so fast he'd catch up to his own beams he shot out first. He and his surrounding multiple energy blasts would all come at Lucif together, like a gang about to jump a lone civilian.
I'll get you back for this!
Leaving Lucif with no choice but to cower, with his hands futilely covering himself, as his eyes can't help but dart around at just how many collisions he was about to face. And ultimately, when things came to an end, each of the beams would strike, and a magnanimous explosion would erupt where the Omni-Devil was, his screams ringing out even louder than the boom. Good boy! Now for your final treat! As a grinning Vegito, still not having reached Lucif, would have his Saiyan completed Seraphim glow wildly, as he would know there was one more step to this. Violently jumping into the sky with the same momentum and speed he had moving forward, as if he had transferred the kinetic energy perfectly. As he would rise higher and higher, simultaneously he would power up a demonically colored Kamehameha wave. Its energy only increasing and increasing, concentrating as seemingly energy from the surroundings would be getting forced into it like a makeshift spirit bomb until finally, God-Killer Vegito would unleash his blast down. A gigantic wave of energy pushing across all the smoke and debris of the explosions that had just happened a few nanoseconds ago, ready to give Lucif the next big problem to deal with.
Wait, what is it?
As a still recovering Lucif, his skin still smoldering and burning from the last attack, would turn back in fear as a giant light would create a shadow below him.
No!
Finally seeing the giant energy about to impact. But all too late, as his entire face would be lost in its almighty shine. Giving off one final, even greater scream as the cataclysmic eruption, even larger than before, would tear through everything in its path.
What power! He's absolutely destroying him! And all by himself! How strong did he get?
The showcase leaving the prince completely stunned, his body trembling from what he would be sensing, even though it would seem Vegito was now on their side.
Father! This is your power!
As Rani's child too, still using Trunks as its vessel, would be shocked too, thinking to himself while remembering his mother.
Mother! You picked well! The Saiyan known as Vegito! Of all the blood that runs through my veins, Angel, Archangel, Devil, this Saiyan is who I must overcome. I will do it! I will fulfill your wish for me, Mother! One day!
As finally, with the destruction of Vegito's attack complete, all that would be seen left of Omni-Devil Lucif would be a bottomless, dark pit where he once was. And for a good while, there would be no movement or sound to be heard at all, just the crumbling of rocks into the all-consuming pit. But soon enough, the top of a certain creature would begin to rear its head. This being, of course, Lucif, clearly worse for wear, bleeding and damaged from all parts of his body, as his left eye would close from blood running down it. Until with a cold stare that could kill a mortal from just sight alone, he would let out,
You were what brought me out after all these centuries. My plan, my pawn. You will not be what sends me back. You hear me?
Levitating high into the sky, looking down, commenting,
Clearly, something is not right here for you to be doing this. All this means is I have not taken the power of the Omni-Devil far enough. Perhaps I should remember what I have most experience being. The one true devil.
As just like that, spontaneous lightning would then find itself being forced to appear all around Lucif's hands first, then across his face as his eyes would burst open, along with his fanged teeth, grumbling along loudly the entire way. And soon, more visible changes would come through, as Lucif, just as he said, would tap more into his devil side, instantly growing his horns, changing the shape of his divine armor, and instantly even morphing his once feathered angel-like wings to incomplete, true devil wings, much like Kazuya had. Lucif's entire presence, now less of an elder god, but definitely more primal. His whites disappearing in place for a glowing red set of eyes, saliva simply excreting out of his gums as he would force his rage into power.
I told you, there will be no story where you overcome me, you used up vessel.
As now standing in this strange makeshift transformation, the Lucif of old would reappear, a demonic, large muscular entity that he believed would now be the answer. What is going on? Where does he keep pulling these power-ups from? With Vegeta beginning to notice how the situation was changing and becoming more dire by the second, as he would quickly turn to Vegito and yell, Vegito! Don't just sit there and let this happen! You beat him! Finish this now! Shut up, clown! But a completely unlistening Vegito would just stay put, silencing the prince. Did you really expect him to listen to you on the outside when he wouldn't listen when you were within him? We must be the ones to stop this! As Jiren taking charge would fly forward in Vegito's steed. But as Jiren would charge in front, judging by the raging aura of Lucif, his power-up would still unknowingly carry on. As suddenly Jiren would realize things would not be so easy to approach the Omni-Devil now. As instantly struck by something, the former Pride Trooper would be sent unceremoniously back. As when we would get a view from behind Vegito, it would be clear just what did this, as Lucif's raucous power-up would now recklessly be exploding thunderbolts in all directions. All this panicking, Over what? He can change all he wants, but he's just not catching up to me. Not after what I've been through. I may as well let him try his very best. But as the wind would blow all over, berating his hair, the God Killer would still remain still, his arms folded and smiling without a care in the world. But finally, Lucif's power-up would end. A brief stare forward until...
Prepare to die!
Before not being able to contain himself anymore, the beastly Omni-Devil would fire forward at full speed. The God Killer right in his sights as he would destroy the ground below him in his pursuit of his ultimate enemy. And within mere moments, Lucif would be at Vegito's face, getting closer and closer with every frame, to the point his clawed hand would practically be touching the God Killer's hair. But all the time, Vegito's smirk would not break for a single second. And we would all find out why when with extreme speed, with a rising knee like Sagat, Lucif's big power-up would meet an anticlimactic end. Like it were an entire waste of time. His face slammed so hard right on the nose, the impact would even shatter off the newly grown horns of his skull. And when we would get a detailed close-up, the damage would be even worse than thought, with blood spewing from all parts of his face, his horns crumbling in the air, as even his teeth would break from the gum. All from that single impact, even to this point, continuing to reverberate through his body. His body just stepping back, falling by itself in front of Vegito as he stands. You just came all the way here. Don't tell me you're leaving already. Nuh-uh. This isn't over yet. As immediately, Vegito would then jump up dramatically, both legs in the air, and... there we go! With a double-legged kick extending like a gunshot, Lucif, to violent effect, would be slammed straight in the chest, his already delirious state forced to scream out yet again. His voice now practically lost, as to add insult to injury, almost as if Vegito had done this on purpose to finish his earlier job. Lucif's divine armor on his chest plate would instantly then break apart and smash to 1,000 pieces, sending the Omni-Devil on a private flight backwards at extreme speeds across the planet. Going so far, he would even leave the land, now approaching a water source, skidding across the sea, parting it biblically, until eventually Lucif would come to a halt, his body already almost covered by the water, his stunned face not moving, as now only his hand would be left as the final scene before he would ultimately fade into a watery grave. And deeper he would fall, almost like in complete darkness. He wouldn't say a word, as on closer inspection of his face, Lucif would indeed be unconscious, all three eyes closed, completely defeated. But though his body may not make a sound, his mind would still have its final thoughts, as he would reflect.
How did it come to this? Things were so simple at one point. Perhaps I should have never gone down this path. Power wasn't even worth it in the end. From what I was to who I became.
This is not the end. But almost as if hallucinating, briefly, Lucif would hear a strange voice and begin opening his eyes underwater.
What was that just now?
Himself wondering, as darkness would now overcome him in the very depths of this sea. But as he would look above, in the dimming light, a strange shadow would be approaching, until a hand would now outreach, and from it, the words would be said, "This is just the beginning. You did go down the wrong path, but now you will turn back around. Return to your roots. You are no devil. You are by blood an angel, an archangel in fact. You are my son." As suddenly, with these words said, Lucif's eyes would burst open, but not just in any normal way, as unbelievably, he would unlock the completed Seraphim, Saiyan in color now, including the diamond under his eyes, under the command of his so-called father. Lucif had been reborn again.
But that was it for today's video, guys, and if you made it this far, leave me a hashtag #myson in the comments down below and let me know just who is the good Vegito here. Or just find out what happens right now on my Patreon, where you can see the full next video, fully voice acted, soundtracked and edited for you to enjoy with over 4,500 plus other fans, as well as getting access to 250 plus other fan mangas too. It's the deal of the century.